All right. Let me get the stream up. All right. Huh? Okay. There for now. Think. Not quite. I need to move this over a bit. I think that's better. think I think this should be okay. That down. All right. Get some water. All right. Hi, I'm Boxcat. Today we're playing Where Eternity Sleeps. It's actually no, it's not from any of the game jams. For some reason I thought it was like from the Otome jam, but it isn't. I think I found this one through like I was searching some kind of like tag on the itch.io site, and this had been like recently uploaded at the time. I think that's how I found this one. So yeah, it's been in my backlog for like a month or two, something like that. But yeah, I thought we'd do that today. Get some water. Been a long day. Productive, but long. Probably not healthy. I didn't sleep. I went straight from ending stream to starting a Tumblr post to editing a video, and I've been editing that video until a few hours ago, only stopping for like meal. That's just kind of how I roll. It's very unhealthy, but you know, it gets the job done. I'm gonna work on it after this too. I think I'm close. I'm sure. I'm pretty sure I'm close. So I should be able to sleep tonight. I should be able to sleep tonight. So that's good. That's good. You know, speaking of sleep, where eternity sleeps, that's where I'm gonna sleep. Hey, this is where I slept last night. I fell asleep at my desk. I did get a couple hours in, at least I assume. I got a couple hours in. I don't know how much time I got in, but I did fall asleep at my desk. So this is where eternity sleeps. This is where Boxcat sleeps. Oh yes. Anyway, me bring up the. All right. All right. So this is a game. More or less, we are a scholar who is like a this young king's trusted about to say trusted servant, but that's not quite right. Like a trusted aide or something. Um, and yeah, I guess in town people have been disappearing, like into thin air, and this this king starts to get like paranoid or something, and so he sends us out on a journey to uncover the secrets of immortality because you know that's what kings do. They're greedy. They want that kind of stuff. Yeah, but there are two love interests in the game. yandere love interests, to be precise. I assume it's the blonde and the redhead here. I assume these are the two love interests. But yeah, there's a only the demo is available at the moment, which covers chapter 1. So that's what we'll be doing tonight. My lips feel dry. Oh yeah, I know I said on the Blue Sky post, but sorry for being late. I know I didn't have to say that, but it just I felt like I should. But yeah, this is tonight's game. So I have it up here. Let me unmute the audio. Later on, I will also link the game page on my Blue Sky. And if I decide to put this on YouTube, I'll put the link in the description. I need to start trying to like incorporate like lines that I can like edit at a point to fit for YouTube. You know what I mean? Maybe I should record. Sure. Worst case, I don't use it. Best case, I have an audio track that I can manipulate in editing. A voice audio track I can manipulate in editing. But that's not always the case because, you know, I have the image to go with the voice. So you can't pretend that a voice line actually goes here when it was originally here because in the game the webcam and the game are connected. So yes. Hopefully you get what I mean. Anyway, yeah, we'll do it anyway. Yeah, sure, whatever. Alright, so, since we're doing this, let me start. Oh, let me actually, there we go, there's that. And there's this. Oh yes, I'm gonna have to cut this out, but oh well. I need to make sure the audio sounds good. Yeah, let's turn this down. Beautiful music, though. I have everything, like, here. And maybe move it down on the OBS too. And move it down a little bit more. Besides, I can always move it up if I need to, right? That's the beauty of recording. sound adjustments and placements. Alright, give this a try. See. Now it's a little better. A little bit more though. I don't want to feel like I have to like shout over music. Alright. Okay, I think this is okay. So move this a little bit. Let me move. Turn this up to make sure I don't hear any like white noise. Let's mute the game audio for a second. Alright. I don't think I hear any white noise. I think this, did I make a mark here like the other day? Has it like already faded? Oh, no, I think I see it. Maybe I should make a mark for here. Let me make a mark for here. Alright. That should work. But hopefully that's not too much. I'm gonna hope. Does sound like a bit much, but maybe with the music, it'll be fine. Let's turn it just a smidge down. A bit more. Alright, how is this? Okay. Right, how is this? Alright, I'll keep this in. And, you know, monitor the sound. Now, just in case I still don't fully understand what the dial does. I think it's the gain. But I'm still trying to understand all those, like, all that stuff. And how they affect things. Anyway, that's not important. Alright, here we go. Alright. You know what, let me stop the recording and restart. Alright. Hello, this is Boxcat. Today we're playing Where Eternity Sleeps by Drunk Mantis, I think is the name. Yes, Drunk Mantis. So I guess once again I'll go over what the game is about. So basically we work for a young king. In town there's a mysterious disappearances. The king has gotten like paranoid and has sent us on a journey to find the secrets of immortality. And somewhere in there we have two love interests that are both yanderes. That's the best I can do to shorten it. If you want to see the actual description, I'll have that in the I'll put a link to the game page in the description below. So you can see that there. Anyway, I do want to say this music here for the opening title intro for the opening title area is beautiful. I think it's really pretty. Alright. Well. Let me get one more sip. I know I always do this. One more sip of water. Over here. There we go. Alright. Yes, so this is being streamed live. But this might or may not also be a YouTube video. But just in case, I'm doing the I'm trying to set up the formation for it to be one, if I decide for it to be. Anyway, yes. I guess let's get started. I guess let's get started with the game. That's long. How do you manifest in this world? I don't. I'm just here. I'm just here. Oh, the. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm a she, but I'm still just here. What do they mean by manifest? Took me a minute to like. Anyway, a name carries weight beyond words. It is essence, permanence, and possession. Speak it with care. What is your name? What is my name? I am so bad at names. They take me forever to choose. Let's go. Let's do this, Rhea. Yeah, I think that sounds nice. Ah. So this is the thread that binds your soul. Rhea. Oh, it's the sweetest melody. One I could listen to for a lifetime. You. Do you feel it too? Yeah, that did kind of like cut out. This harmony between us? I don't even know who you are. This pull? This unspoken connection that has no beginning and no end. It's as though the stars themselves whispered your name into the soul long before you spoke it. For all of eternity. I will speak of with reverence and love, for it is now a part of me. Are we talking to the world? I mean, that could make sense. Because once given a name, the name and you become an existence in the world. And so, I mean, do you see where I'm going? Maybe. The halls of Emmerich's castle soared in silence, your beauty veiled in dread. Ceilings soared in graceful arcs overhead, where the visages of long-dead kings, carved in reverent detail, lingered in a lush of eternal triumph, or hush of eternal triumph. Sunlight spilled in muted hues through stained glass saints and sinners. Past shard. Let me start that over again. Sunlight spilled in muted hues through stained glass, saints and sinners casting shards of crimson and gold upon the rose. Stone. Close enough. You move through the silence, each step measured. The castle walls, once bustling with couriers and lively with laughter, now seemed to press inward, heavy with silence. The throne room lay ahead, its grand double doors standing sentinel. Polished wood banded with iron, they towered over you, etched with scenes of the kingdom's victories. It sounds pretty. For a moment, you hesitated before them. your hand hovering just shy of the cold metal ring that served as a handle. It wasn't fear that stopped you. Not entirely. But the weight of knowing that whatever lays beyond those doors would change everything. As the King's Scholar, you were no stranger to royal summons. Royal summons. Yet this one carried a sense of foreboding. King Anduin's message had been cryptic, but the urgency was clear. This was no routine consultation. It was a command, and failure was not an option. At the threshold stood a guard, his presence a barrier as much as the door itself. The king awaits. He said, his voice as flat and unyielding as the stone beneath his feet. Swallowing your apprehension, you nodded and took a hold of the handle. The door groaned as it swung open, revealing the throne room before you. Chandeliers hung high above, their countless candles flickering in defiance of the somber atmosphere. Marble tires glistened softly beneath the muted lights, their quiet beauty heightening the disquiet that gripped you. Oh, this is the king. Oh, he's kind of cute. Although we can already tell by the task he's given us and the game description that, you know, he's maybe, perhaps, kind of shit. I don't, maybe he's fun. Maybe he's. No, let's meet him. Let's meet him before we make any judgments. Approach. The words echoed down the length of the hall. You obeyed, bowing low before the throne. King Anduin sat atop his crimson robes. King Anduin sat atop it, his crimson robes pooling around him like a tide of blood. Switch to my... Yeah, we'll turn this down just a teensy bit more. His crown, a relic of the kingdom's golden age, seemed almost too heavy for his head. Your Majesty. King Anduin leaned forward, his sharp gaze locking onto yours. Do you know why I've summoned you? His words were measured, but beneath them lurked an undercurrent of impatience. I assume it concerns the disappearances, Your Majesty. You replied carefully, your chosen words. Your words chosen with the precision of one walking a precarious path. Oh, that assume? Why are you mad? I mean, if I'm right, isn't that just less less, oh god, what's the word? Less for you to explain, I guess. Saves you time, right? So if I am right, then shouldn't that be a good thing? Well, I guess he's moody. The king spat, his tone cutting like a blade. Is that what scholars do now? Assume. He began to pace, each footfall measured, echoing through the vast hall. They're not just missing, scholar. They're gone. Families' entire bloodlines wiped off the face of the map, scrubbed out with a wet sleeve. I left the rural ghosts, empty fields, silent towns. I'm not the king of ghosts, you know. There was no mistaking the irritation in his voice. Loud, biting, and impossible to ignore. He paced before you, his shadow long and looming in flickering lights. The people speak of curses. Punishment for sins long buried beneath our cobble streets. But I do not believe in curses. No, this is something else. His piercing gaze turned back to you. This is the work of someone inside our gates. Are you sure about that? I mean, maybe, but like... maybe we should discover how they're disappearing first? Before... I feel like he's being paranoid. But I guess it could be. Someone who knows us, our strengths, our habits, and our weaknesses. Is deliberate, methodical. They do not strike all at once. They weaken us, hollow us out, until nothing remains but ruin and fear. And obviously it's me they're after. Who else would be worth all this trouble? Maybe me? I mean, it could be. Forgive the question, Your Majesty, but have the Sharives been formally dispatched to investigate the disappearances? Given their jurisdiction and familiarity with the outer settlements, their reports could provide us with valuable content, or context. King Andruian gave you a look so dry I could parch ink. Word? Yes. Ages ago in royal time, which is apparently 5 days before they decided to ghost the entire kingdom. He waved a hand in the air, theatrically annoyed. Vanished. Poof. Not a scrap of parchment or dramatic monologues left behind. I sent scouts. I sent messengers. I even sent the cavalry, for heaven's sake. Do you know how hard it is to lose an entire cavalry? An entire cavalry? Unless they're composing a very long letter from the afterlife, I'd say they've joined the list. Frankly, I'm running out of people to send who aren't either dead, terrified, or terminally incompetent. He slouched in his throne, muttering with a sigh. So tell me, scholar, Since you're so clever, what would you call it? The room held its breath. Still in strain, as if the very air were a blade pressed to the throat of silence. You said nothing. Could say nothing. His words left you questioning, your thoughts unclear. There was no answer. No name you could give it. No logic you could stitch to it. Only silence. It had started quietly. A single face missing from the marketplace. A lone farmhouse left to rot under sun and rain. Then another, and another. Okay, question. Is there magic in this world? Because if there is magic, then someone could, like, they could have used magic to, like, kidnap them into a portal or something. And, like, or if they have, like, teleportation abilities, kidnap them and teleport them somewhere far away. I'm trying to think, how do people go missing? Like, without a trace? Unless everyone's just ditching him because they're tired of him. We're done with this kingdom. We're leaving. I doubt it, but, you know, So either they were, like, teleported, or they've, like, disintegrated. Which teleported would be better, because that means they're alive. Ooh, or. Okay, so say there's another reality, or something, or, like, some kind of, like, I don't know the exact wording, but I think it's like a wordly plane? I don't know if that's the exact correct wording, but... Like, say there's like a rift in the world or something. A rip in the world. And... and that's how people are disappearing. They're falling into that rip in the world and finding themselves in like an alternate universe. That can make sense of why they're just, you know, vanishing out of nowhere. One became two. Two became 10. 10 became towns. No blood, no screams. No shuttered locks or porched thatch. Scorched thatch. Just absence. Bread left mid-rise. Stew simmering over flames that should have been long cold. Horses saddled, reins slack, staring at nothing. Whole villages peeled open like fruits, emptied but untouched. Whatever had come hadn't acted with violence. It hadn't been chaos. It was precise, unhurried, surgical, as if they had been plucked from their very existence. You had gone over it 100 times, searching for pattern, for logic, or something that could be called a motive. But the more you studied it, the clearer it became. This was no work of man, nor the savagery of a beast. Nothing human could have done this. Not like this. I would call it a mystery, Your Majesty. One that defies logic and reasoning. I don't think he liked that answer. The king stopped abruptly, turning to face you fully. Mystery? He repeated the word like it tasted wrong on his tongue. I don't have time for mysteries. I need answers. I need truth. Something I can swing my sword at, not debate over tea. Answers won't come from steel alone, Your Majesty. Sometimes we have to talk about things. How... Now I'm kind of worried what kind of kingdom he runs. You know, if he wants to solve everything with violence. Knowledge would be the blade that cuts through the unknown. The king regarded you quietly, his eyes calculating, weighing the truth in your every syllable. At last he spoke, his voice firm, each word laced with unshakable determination. Yes. Knowledge, truth, and yet, truth alone may not be enough. He turned away again, the weight in his steps heavier now. I feel it, Scholar. Someone or something's out there. I don't know what, but I know it's watching me. Circling me. Watching, waiting. I can feel its fingers brushing my throat every time I close my eyes. The people are afraid. They look to their king to be the last unbroken thing. But if I fall, what then? What hope do they have if the one they've sworn... What hope do they have if the one sworn to protect them can vanish like the rest? I will not be the next. I will not be forgotten. I will outlive whatever darkness is swallowing this kingdom. The people need a king who cannot falter. The people need a king who cannot die. And I agree with the first part, but that's not the solution. Because even if you do gain immortality, you still might disappear. Disappearing doesn't necessarily mean dying. So it would be pointless, right? Yeah, he won't die, but he would still be sent wherever everyone else is being sent and disappear from this place. He would need, like, ties to the world itself. Or something to be able to, you know, achieve this, this goal. Yeah, I don't think, I think I think it's just fear and selfishness driving him right now. Otherwise, I think he would realize that, you know, dying and disappearing are two different things. A chill spread through the chamber, his words wrapping around you like a cloak, heavy with their meaning. Surely he did not mean. No, such a thing was unnatural. A king beyond death? What would it take to achieve such a thing? What would it take to achieve such a thing? What foul arts? At what price? The tension was broken by the sound of a voice you knew well. Oh hey, it's the cute blonde! Your Majesty. Sir Anselm stepped forward from the king's side. The stained glass window bathed him in golden lights, his armor glowing as though touched by the heavens, an ethereal presence in the room. To the courts, he was the king's blade, Elmeric's bravest knight. To you, he was Anselm, the boy you had grown up with. Surely such a perilous task should not be undertaken alone. His eyes lingered, a heartbeat longer than necessary, carrying silent pleas. Concern mixed with something deeper, an emotion he couldn't voice. His eyes were begging you to grasp the weight behind his words. This is not merely the task itself, but the dangers that lurk along the path. It would be unthinkable to send someone unguarded into such uncertainty. He turned back to the king, bowing his head slightly in deference. Will accompany the scholar, Your Majesty. Such a journey demands protection. The king turned to him, his expression darkening. His expression was one of resigned annoyance, or restrained annoyance. Anselm's suggestion was taken as a personal slight, rather than a rational precaution. You speak out of turn, Sir Anselm. You speak out of turn, Sir Anselm. Anselm straightened but held his ground. Only speak out of duty, sir. The scholar's safety is paramount. A safe return is necessary for success. The king's gaze hardened. Who will guard the crown while you play escorts? The king snapped, his frustration spilling out into words. You are my sword, my shield. If the shadows come for me, who will stand by my side? Anselm stiffened, his fists clutched to the side. His usually unshakable composure beginning to waver under the weight of the king's words. The kingdom's survival. Anselm began, his voice tinged with restrained urgency, every word a carefully measured plea. begins with its king. The monarch interrupted sharply, his tone carrying the weight of finality. He stepped forward with deliberate authority, his crimson robes billowing faintly with emotion. His eyes bore into Anselm's, unyielding and expectant, daring him to push further. The tension was palpable, the silence that followed heavy with unspoken challenges. No, Anselm. You will remain here. The scholar must go alone. Anselm's jaw tightened, but he bowed his head. You wish, sire. He said finally, though his voice betrayed his frustration. The king turned his attention back to you. The kingdom falters under the shadow. Our people cry out for hope, for assurance that their king will protect them. And to protect them, I must endure. I must be invincible, eternal. Invincibility, eternity. These were no simple matters of science or study. They were stuff of myth, of fables. Yet the way the king and Duin spoke of it, as if it were the only logical solution, it made it clear that his true concern was not the kingdom. I did say that, didn't I? It was himself. Your Majesty. Finally, you forced yourself to respond. Your voice steady but cautious. The task you ask of me, it ventures into a realm of legend and impossibility. The king's lips pressed into a thin line, his eyes narrowing. Then venture there. Seek answers where mortals dare not tread. Are you not Rhea, seeker of truths? Yeah, I'm the seeker of truths, not the seeker of myths. You are the kingdom's brightest mind. Prove yourself worthy of that title. Or do not return at all. Maybe I won't. The threat in his words was unmistakable. Even as he crouched it in the guise of royal expectation. Failure was not an option. But neither was open defiance. You bowed low, the voice steady even as nerves tightened within you. I will do as you command, Your Majesty. As the king dismissed you with a wave of his hand, your gaze briefly met Anselm's. Though he was bound by duty, his concern for you was palpable, a silent plea that seemed to stretch across the space between you. The heavy doors groaned shut behind you, sealing you into an unescapable path. The Library of the Royal Archives stood as a solemn fortress of knowledge, its towering shelves brimming with the wisdom of centuries. The air carried a faint sense of aged parchment. Water. Maybe I should put that hydrating lip gloss on. Let's try again. The air carried the faint scent of aged parchment, wax. A solemn testament to the countless scholars who had sought wisdom within these hollowed walls. Stained glass windows high above filtered the moonlight into kaleidoscope hues. Ooh. I think this room is beautiful, like by the description of the light flowing through the windows like that. I bet you it's very like picturesque. Dust motes danced in the beams, drifting lazily untouched by time. This was a sanctuary of knowledge, a place where the weight of history pressed upon every surface. Yet tonight, it felt anything but serene. Your task hung over you, making the tranquil silence feel oppressively heavy. You sat at a carved oak desk, bill in hand, surrounded by stacks of parchment and books older than the kingdom itself. You prepared to confront the elusive subject of immortality. The answers you sought might have been buried in these pages, or they might not exist at all. The faint rustle of footsteps on the stone floor pulled your focus from the brittle pages of the tome you were poring over. I'm gonna hope it's Anselm, or someone friendly? You know, I have a feeling this is all gonna end up with us looking for like a Philosopher's Stone. Because when it comes to immortality, the inclusion of a Philosopher's Stone is pretty common. Expecting a castle attendant, you looked up and froze. Whee! Yay, it is Anselm. Standing at the entrance was Anselm, the weight of his usual armor conspicuously absent. He wore a simple tunic, the fabric cinched at the waist by a plain leather belt. It was a rare sight to see him without his imposing metal shield, or metal shell. One few ever had the chance to witness. And yet there was something strangely comforting about seeing him like this. A quiet reminder that beneath the steel and duty, he was still just a man. Anselm, you said, surprised, rising from your seats. What are you doing here? Shouldn't you be on duty? He took a few hesitant steps into the room, his eyes scanning the space to ensure no one else was present. I've done enough standing around for one day. Besides, the king is safe enough for the night. But you? He trailed off, His blue eyes were cloudy with worry. Needed to see you. His hand brushed over the back of the nearby chair, but he didn't sit. Instead, he lingered a few feet away, unsure of his welcome. You sighed, setting your quill aside. You shouldn't be here. If the king finds out, let him. Ansem cut you off, stepping closer. I appreciate your concern, but you and I both know the consequences of defying the king's orders. If he knows you're here, it will raise questions neither of us can afford to answer. Damn the consequences! Ansem snapped, his sudden burst of frustration startling you. He ran his hand through his hair, pacing in front of the desk. We're poring over dusty books, preparing for a journey no one alone should have to take. I'm supposed to stand idly by? How can you ask that of me? Because I have no choice. You said firmly, though your voice wavered. You're familiar with the way the king does things. If you disobey him, I'll be branded a traitor. Ansem finished bitterly. Yes, I know. The king may command my service, but my loyalty belongs to the one who truly matters to me. That's me, right? I hope. Yay, it is! You. His words were like a stone thrown into water, rippling through the thoughts and catching your breath in its wake. He rarely spoke so plainly, his emotions always tempered by duty. Now stripped of his armor and titles, he stood before you not as a knight, but as the boy who had always been by your side. The boy who once stepped between you and danger, who believed in you when you couldn't believe in yourself. Ansem. He began, but he shook his head. Ria, you're brilliant. The brightest mind the kingdom has ever seen. Brilliance does not stop blades or ward off beasts. Think I do not know the dangers you face? Seen what the world can do to those who travel alone. I know the risks. But trust me, Ansem, I can handle it. No one can do this alone. Not even you. He said it bluntly, his eyes locking onto yours. Maybe not. You admitted softly, almost afraid to be heard. But I must. If you come with me, the king will know. It'll be the end of us. He'll punish us both, and I can't let that happen. The king's punishments mean nothing to me. Failing to protect you would be a wound deeper than the blade could. Failing to protect you would be a wound deeper than any blade could match. My life is yours to spend, if it keeps you from harm. You shook your head, the weight of your resolve pressing down on you. You have no idea what's out there, Ansem. The things I've read in these books, the places I'll have to go. If you come, it won't just be the king you'll have to fear. It'll be something far worse. That's just gonna make him worry more, isn't it? Do we even know how to fight? Please tell me he, at some point through our life, has taught us to, like, wield a sword or something. Or like, a knife at the very least. Like a dagger. That matters to me. I would stand between you and every blade, every shadow that dares touch you. Would face it all, without hesitation, without fear. Because your safety means more to me than my own life ever could. If pain must be felt, let it be mine. Even if it takes every piece of me, I would give it all just to see you at peace. As long as I live, every breath is yours. So long as my heart beats, it beats only to keep you safe. This is so sweet, jeez. Not because I must. But no matter the cost, I'd always reach for you. Throat tightens, struggling against the overwhelming tide of emotions threatening to break free. He's Ria. Let me protect you. For a moment, the room felt unbearably quiet. The only sound the faint crackle of the torches. For a moment, the room felt unbearably quiet. The only sound being the faint crackle of the torches along the walls. Ansem, I can't. I can't let you throw your life away for me. But I do love the words that are coming out of your mouth. But yeah. Ansem's shoulders slumped, his eyes breaking away, as if seeking refuge somewhere else. Then promise me one thing. What? Promise me you'll come back. No matter what happens, no matter what you face, promise me you return. You hesitated, the weight of the promise threatening to crush you. No. Not try. Promise me. You looked into his eyes, searching for the right words. I promise. You said at last, though your chest ached with uncertainty. Ansem released a steady breath, the stiffness in his body easing. Good. That's all I needed to hear. He lingered for a moment longer, his hand twitching, yearning to reach for you again. But then he stepped back, the mask of composure returning to his face. Be careful, Rhea. He said simply before turning and walking away, his retreating figure swallowed by the shadow of the archive. He stood there for a long moment, staring at the spot where he had been. The ache in your chest deepened, then you pushed it aside, turning back to your books. There was no room for doubt now. The journey ahead would demand every ounce of your focus, every piece of your heart. I don't know the name of the song, but an old song just popped in my head. Like one that my parents listened to. It's like, take another piece of my heart, baby. I can't sing, I'm so sorry. But like, something like that. It just popped into my mind and yeah. Random. After days of tireless searching, your body ached, and your mind felt like it teetered on the edge of exhaustion. The faint glow of the lantern cast long, flickering shadows across the forgotten stone walls. The quiet hum of the archives was a relentless companion, a monotonous drone that pressed into your thoughts as you sifted through brittle text and fragmented scriptures. Scriptures spoke of mythical armors, potions brewed under rare moons, and gods whose blessings demanded unimaginable sacrifices. None of it felt concrete. None of it felt real. The deeper you dug, the more legends seemed like lies, spun and ensnared the desperate. Then, as your fingers brushed the edge of yet another meaningless text, the air shifted. The lantern's flame flickered wildly, as if caught in a sudden gust, though the room remained deathly still. I'm not too sure I like this. Something about this feels ominous? Before the light could steady, something sharp jabbed into your palm. Ow! You hissed, drawing back. Your finger came away smeared with blood. There beneath where your hand had rested, the stone seemed to drink the droplets and... There, beneath where your hand had rested, the stone seemed to drink... The stone seemed to drink the droplets greedily. You stared, heart hammering. You stared, heart hammering, as the lines of crimson crept into the cracks, forming a spiral pattern across the surface. The markings pulsed faintly, like veins under skin. And then, without warning, the stone beneath your feet gave way. Is this a dream? I feel like this might be a dream. You stumbled backwards, clutching the edges of the surrounding floor to stop your fall. Below you, the slab shifted with grinding groans, revealing a gaping hollow. At first, it looked like a simple pit, but as your eyes adjusted to the darkness, you realized it was more. a cavernous expanse hidden beneath the archives. Stone steps spiraled downward into the hollow, uneven and ancient, carved by hands long forgotten. With careful steps, you begin your descent. The hollow stretched far beyond what you could see, its edges fading into shadow. The echoes of your footfalls seemed to grow louder with every step, until it felt as if the hollow itself was amplifying your presence. The faint glints of moisture clung to jagged rock walls, and the air carried a deep, metallic tang that pricked at your senses. In the suffocating darkness below, a subtle thrum pulsed in time with your heartbeats. In the center of the hollow lay a pedestal, cradling something wrapped in decayed fabric. When you finally reached the pedestal, the object within revealed itself. A scroll, bound with what looks to be sinew instead of cord. As you unrolled it with care, the symbols inscribed on the parchment seemed to shimmer faintly. The text was written in a language long forgotten by the world, its characters curving and weaving in intricate, almost hypnotic patterns. Your eyes skimmed over the cryptic text, desperately trying to pull the meaning from the tangle and curves and slashes. Resources on this ancient script were scarce, almost non-existent. Okay, so we need to search, we're probably gonna need to search out, can't speak. We're probably gonna need to search out someone who can actually read this. Unless we can, or actually at least have the ability to, like, decode it. You had ever seen such markings, let alone understood them. Your exposure to this forgotten language was painfully limited. Yet somehow, you managed to decipher fleeting fragments. Rinthuras, Arthol, Deyal, Noah Ash. Endless, without birth or death. The rest defied you. A wall of mystery, reinforced by the erosion of time. It's as though the text itself resisted comprehension, its secrets cloaked in layers of deliberate obfuscation, in centuries of decay. Yet despite the near impossibility of decoding it, you knew someone who might help. Oh, we do? Oh, wow, that's convenient. A scribe whose expertise is in ancient tongue, or a scribe whose expertise in ancient tongue bordered on obsession. Renowned for unraveling cryptic text, thought impossible to decipher. This individual possessed a unique skill that could unlock fragments of meaning hidden within the faded symbols. However, even such expertise had its limits. You couldn't ignore the possibility that the script contained knowledge forever lost to the ages. The weight of the scroll felt heavy in your hands. Its presence felt wrong, unsettling. It didn't belong to this world anymore, and yet, it had found its way to you. With reverent hands, you coaxed the worn parchment into its torn bindings. For now, it would remain in your possession. And hopefully stay there. Hopefully no one steals it. Because this is a pretty valuable piece of parchment. And dangerous. Because it does sound like it holds secrets to immortality. Or at least clues. Maybe a warning? Whatever secrets it held, whatever truths had been lost to time, you would uncover them. As you turned to leave, a faint gust of air exhaled from the hollow itself, brushing past your neck. Oh, hi? A shiver ran down your spine at the whisper A shiver ran down your spine as the whisper touched your neck. Soft, sorrowful, and far too close. It scared you. The scroll remained firmly in hand, and the decision to leave this haunted hollow was made without hesitation. The answers would come, but you couldn't shake the feeling that they would demand more than you were ready to give. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if in exchange for immortality, you would like slowly go mad or something. Because naturally, if you're gonna gain something that powerful, you have to give something back. There's gotta be at least like some consequence, right, to gaining like immortality. It just wouldn't make sense if there wasn't. The scroll sat snugly at the bottom of your pack, wrapped in cloth that shielded from the elements. Around it, you had packed only the essentials. Dried rations, a flask of water, a hunting knife, and a few light cooking utensils, just enough to prepare basic meals over a fire. A small coin purse rested in the corner of your pack, holding what little gold you had managed to save. The last item you added was a map of Rendril, its edges frayed and torn from countless hands that had touched it before yours. The landmarks were faint, but you committed them to memory, trusting it would guide you if needed. Traveling light was a necessity. Ansem was usually the one that carried your belongings during expeditions, his quiet insistence sparing you from much of the burden. But now, without him, you had to carefully consider every item. You didn't want to weigh yourself down unnecessarily. I just thought of something. Like, what if, like, in a game, like, your inventory in your, like, backpack, or whatever they call it in the game, what if, the amount of stuff you had in your inventory actually, like, affected your walking speed? I don't know why that thought just, like, popped into my mind. But I do know that, like, So in games, I'm an item hoarder. I'm an item hoarder. So I wouldn't be moving very fast. Maybe even not moving at all. The morning air was sharp and cool as you neared the kingdom's gates. Their towering iron structure adorned with ancient protective runes. The path beyond beckoned, shrouded in uncertainty. But just as your hand brushed the gate's cold surface, a familiar voice halted you. Leaving so soon? You turned sharply, your heart skipping a beat. There, just a few paces away, was Anselm. His knight's armor caught the pale light of dawn, polished to a mirror sheen. Though polished and proud, the armor seemed almost at odds with every worry etched across his face. A real knight bound at the king's side, Anselm rarely had the luxury of tending to matters outside the castle walls. Yet here he was. Where are you heading? He asked, his eyes falling to the pack slung over your shoulder. The blind forest. His reaction was instant. His calm facade vanished, replaced by an expression of alarm. His hand instinctively brushed the hilt of a sword, as though he might shield you from the very idea. Blind forest? That cursed place? Why would he set foot there of all places? Because I have to, Anselm. There's someone I need to find. Anselm's hand fell away from his sword, but the worry remained. Who? Miriam. The name hung in the air like a blade unsheathed. A flicker of unease passed across his expression. Miriam? Miriam the outcast? He paused, his voice taking on a note of disbelief. You mean the one they say whispers to shadows and scribbles madness on the paper? Some even claim she's cursed. You felt your chest tighten at those words, a rush of anger surging through you. She is not cursed. You shot back, your voice rising. She's brilliant. And more than that, she's my friend. Anselm's jaw clenched as he searched your face, his disbelief slowly turning into a resigned sigh. Sorry. I didn't mean to insult her. Just stories about her. About that place. None of it ends well. Your heart pounded in your chest, the familiar sting of offense creeping into your throats. She's not a monster, Anselm. And she's the only one who can help me. He sighed, a look of frustration and concern painting his features. Won't lie to you. I'm worried. Before he could say more, the sound of hurried footsteps drew your attention. The king? Oh, royal guard. A royal guard approached, bowing deeply. Sir Ansem, the king summons you at once. Ansem muttered a curse under his breath. He cast an apologetic look your way. Wait. Without another word, he reached beneath his armor, his fingers brushing against something hidden beneath the metal. He pulled free a pendant that hung from the simple chain around his neck. Its modest design at odds with the powerful emotions he seemed to be battling. The pendant was elegant in its simplicity. Nothing more than a small silver disc with intricate carvings etched into its surface. To anyone else, it would seem like an ordinary piece of jewelry. But to Ansem, it was far more. It was part of his past, a piece of his mother's legacy. This belonged to my mother. Is he giving us like his family heirloom or something? His mother probably said, "Give this necklace to the woman you love." I bet you anything. Ansem says softly, holding it out to you, his fingers trembling slightly as he extended it. She always watched over me, and now, I want her to watch over you. You stepped back, your heart heavy with the weight of his words. Ansem, no. I can't take that. It's too important to you. I'm very, very likely to lose it. No, really. I have a feeling there's gonna be a whole scene of some pickpockets stealing the necklace and us getting ourselves into, like, danger because, oh no! They stole Ansem's mother's necklace! I have to return that to him! And then we run off and, you know, get into trouble. And yeah, that's gonna be a whole, like, plot point. I already see it. It's important. He insisted, his voice resolute. That's why it belongs with you. Oh, I can choose a save? Yeah, I can save. Nice. Alright, I'm gonna accept it. I don't know if that's the best decision because of, you know, what I literally just said. But I like him. I want a part of me to be with you always. This is my vow. A thread that binds us. Even when fate pulls us apart. No matter how far you go, no matter what paths you take, you'll never truly be alone. Because with every heartbeat, every breath, he held it gently to your chest, just over your heart, his finger warm and trembling. Meanwhile, we have the guard over there, like, tapping his foot. Come on, the king's gonna kick my ass if I don't bring you sooner. He's just over there waiting. I'll always be with you. The silence that settled was soft, delicate, and heavy with unsaid words. The guard who had been waiting for Ansem blinked. See, he is still there. Visibly startled by what he had just witnessed. He stared at Ansem in stunned disbelief. This was the kingdom's renowned knight, a man celebrated for his unwavering composure and iron resolve in the face of danger. He who stood like a fortress to all, now flickered with something fragile, like a flame beyond glass. Ansem, suddenly aware of the guard's gaze, cleared his throat, a nervous tick betraying his flustered state as he tried to disguise the pink coloring of his cheeks. Oh yay, another, gotta save it every option. Gotta try to charm him. You tilt your head slightly, a soft giggle escaping past your lips, eyes dancing with amusement. Oh, how I'd give anything to make this moment last a little longer. Maybe your hand could help me hold it still? Ansem's hand hovered over yours, trembling very slightly, close enough to feel the warmth, but too shy to bridge the distance. His cheeks deepened into a rich crimson, a quiet warmth radiating off him like heat from a hearth. In the corner of your eye, you notice the guard trying and failing to stifle a grin. His eyes were wide with amusement at the scene unfolding before him. Hopefully this guard knows that, like, this is... You keep this moment to yourself. You keep your what you witnessed to yourself. Hopefully he understands that that unsaid rule. The instant Ansem's eyes briefly met his, the guard's face stiffened, his features locking into an unreadable mask. Oh, did I embarrass you? As if I did. I always see them quieter, sir. Ansem's breath hitched sharply as he leaned in, the space between you dissolving in an instant. He's so cute! His gaze darted to yours, only to flee, as if even a glance would undo him. His hand shifted awkwardly, tugging at the lower edge of his cuirass, where it pressed over the juncture between his thigh and waist. An unconscious action, but one that didn't go unnoticed. I love that face. His voice faltered, his fingers nervously scraping the edge of his armor, in a quiet attempt to steady himself. It's just, well, there's a time and a place for everything, right? He drew in a steady breath, shoulders lifting before settling into a familiar, composed stance. He met your gaze once more, and in place of shyness, there blooms something earnest. Promise me you'll return. I promise. Ansem gave you a long, searching look, then nodded. Take care, Ria. A crack in his tone betrayed a moment of unguarded emotion. And with that, he turned and followed the guard, disappearing into the castle's walls, shadows. Once they get inside the castle, Anselm's gonna be like, you don't speak of this to anyone, okay? You slip the pendant in your pocket. Its presence a quiet reminder of the promise you made. Stealing one last glance at the castle's towering silhouette, you turn toward the path ahead. With Ansem's pendant close to your heart, and the promise of your return, you knew there was no turning back. Your journey had begun. The path stretched before you, winding through fields of emerald under a golden sun. Very pretty. Oh, hey! Hello, Indio Tome! Welcome in! Thank you for the raid! Welcome in, everyone! How are you guys doing? What were you guys playing? Oh, Pretenders Guild? Oh, I've been good. Hello, Rice Bits. You guys just... There's not a log. Oh, there is a history. Snow. Aw, you... Ansem's adorable. I love him. I'm playing a game called, Where Eternity Sleeps. It's, the demo for the game. Yeah, we've been sent on a journey by the king to search for the secrets of immortality. And because he's like all paranoid because people keep disappearing, like out of nowhere, just into thin air. I wish I could go back because we just got done with a really cute scene with the blonde that's on the cover. But yeah, that's what we're doing today. I feel like I've seen a scene like this before. I almost want to say there was a path kind of similar to this. Like, near the horse riding place I take my niece to when she visits in the summer. Anyway. The sunlight bathed the world in a honey... the sunlight bathed the world in a honey glow, turning every blade of grass into simmering into a shimmering thread. And for the first time in years, you allow yourself to truly see it, to feel it. The tall grass rippled in waves, whispering against a breeze. Coral wildflowers peeked through the green like scattered jewels. Alright, well thank you for stopping by. Yeah, I will. You hadn't realized how much you missed this. Most of your life had been spent within its towering spires, in stone corridors. Thank you. Alright, and thank you for stopping by as well. Good seeing ya. And have a nice lunch. Buried in studies or council meetings, your hands ink-stained from maps and treaties. Even the expeditions outside the kingdom were merely extensions of your work. But here, now standing in the sea of green, you could almost feel the world breathing again. I'm loving the colors. They're pretty. I want to take a picture of it. You could almost feel yourself breathing again. The grass danced in the breeze, whispering against your fingertips. The sun bathed your skin in its gentle heat. A tender reminder of its presence. Each inhale brought the fragrance of earth and blooms, filling your chest with something beyond air. Peace. Closing your eyes, you tip your face toward the sun and let a quiet whisper escape your lips. I've missed this. The wind seemed to carry your words away. In the rustling leaves and shifting grass, you could almost hear the world breathe back. Welcome home. You didn't just walk the earth. You were a part of it. Yet the serenity carried an undertone of fragility. As he pressed further, the beauty began to fade. The rippling grass quieted, its whispers replaced by an unnatural stillness. The world, once alive, began to feel hollow. A village appeared in the distance, quiet and still beneath a gray sky. The cottages stood nearby in place, untouched, too pristine for how utterly empty everything felt. This is one of the towns that had all its townspeople disappear. Children didn't laugh. Animals didn't stir. The air held no voices, no warmth. Animals. I remember them saying that, like when they were giving examples of disappearances. They said like they would find horses, like prepared, like saddled and prepared to be ridden, but with no rider. So I kind of assumed that they were the disappearances only humans were disappearing. So I don't know why there wouldn't be any sign of animals here. I mean, surely there'd be at least some birds, right? Children didn't laugh. Animals didn't stir. The air held no voice, no warmth. Chimneys stood cold. Windows stared back with nothing behind them but shadow. Left behind but not forgotten. The dirt paths were smooth, undisturbed. The ground offering no clues of presence. The village lay still, preserved in an eerie stasis. But something in their silence stirred, as if they marked your passing. You quickened your pace, your boots crunching against gravel that seemed too loud in the stillness. Your thoughts drifted to the rumors whispered back in the kingdom. Stories passed from lips softened by ale, but sharpened by fear. Of all the tales, one lingered in your mind. It sang where stars won't gleam. A thread of sorrow in a dream. It touched the walls, then brushed the skin, and called to something deep within. It cried in chords the heart could feel, a mourning none could quite conceal. One by one they left the lights, to drown in grief beyond the nights. No hands were found, nor doors unlatched, just hearts that heard, and the hearts it snatched. And when the hush returned once more, it held no trace of those before. Oh, that is unsettling, because we did hear like a voice or feel like a brush on our neck earlier, didn't we? Does that mean we've been like targeted? That's not good. You couldn't help but remember that voice, the sound that had unsettled you to the core. You shook the thought away, unwilling to let it take hold. Even in daylight, the unease hung in the air, heavy, watchful, and unrelenting. After hours of trekking in silence, the soft murmur of running water finally shattered the heavy stillness, drawing you toward a stream that meandered through the landscapes. Its clear waters glistened, inviting you to pause and replenish your flask. You knelt by the stream, the cold water chilling your fingers as you reached down to fill your flask. For a brief moment, the soft gurgle of the stream brought you a sense of calm, a reprieve from the growing unease. But then, your eyes were drawn to it. Lying just beyond the stream's edge, half hidden in the tall grass, it was a rabbit. Dinner! Its small body was still, unnervingly so, with fur matted and stained dark. Oh, never mind. It's dead. Yeah, it's dead. It's totally dead. Even gonna censor bar over it. The closer you looked, the more horrifying the details became. Its stomach had been torn open, its insides grotesquely exposed. The wounds looked fresh, as if whatever had done it was still nearby. A pang of sorrow twisted in your chest, but it was quickly overshadowed by our darker thoughts. This is how fragile life is. Honestly, I thought the darker thought would be, whoever killed this rabbit is still nearby, and whoever killed the rabbits didn't kill it for food, but for sports, meaning they're probably not, they could be dangerous. The sight filled you with cold dread. A stark reminder of how cruel and unforgiving the world could be. The rabbit so helpless, so vulnerable. It was a brutal mirror showing you how easily you too could be reduced to nothing. You quickly averted your eyes, unwilling to linger any longer in the pitiful scene. Just as you were about to turn away, something shifted. You froze, the hair on the back of your neck standing on end. The rabbit's body hadn't moved at all. It remained still, unnaturally so. But its eyes? Oh. Its lifeless eyes, once staring blankly at the sky, were now fixed on you. That's disturbing. I'm not okay with that. Oh gosh. Zombie bunnies! Zombie bunnies! Nope, 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 nope. Nope. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. We're not doing that. They were devoid of life. Yet they bore into you with an internal intensity, or unnatural. Yet they bore into you with an unnatural intensity. A sharp, visceral fear clawed its way up your throats. Then came the voice. It wasn't your imagination. A voice so faint, yet so undeniable, that it sent a chill down your spine. So this voice, is it taking over the bunny's body and making it look at us? Ew. Ria. The voice wasn't outside of you. It was inside you, toiling through thoughts like a predator circling its prey. I didn't give you permission to be inside me! Get out! You stumbled back, your flask slipping from your hands, splashing into the stream. The rabbit's head twitched. Its lifeless mouth sagged open, as if it were about to speak. You wanted to move, to run, but your legs felt rooted to the ground. You finally heard me. After all this time. Ria. Oh, Ria. Just as it suddenly began, it stopped. The rabbit's eyes fell shut. Still. Dead. Silence. You staggered to your feet, your breath coming in short, ragged gasps. The rabbit remained motionless, lifeless. But you couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching you. The world seemed to shudder under a heavy darkness, bending its will toward you. Oh, shit. A deafening crack of thunder shattered the moments. The skies erupting its rain, as rain began to pour down in torrents. And we need to find our flask, too. The storm seemed to erupt out of nowhere, drenching you in seconds. You jerked upright, adrenaline coursing through your veins. There it is. You snatched up your flask with trembling hands, stuffing it into your pack before turning on your heels. But even as you left the stream behind, the voice lingered in your mind. Its sinister echo clinging to your thoughts like a shadow you couldn't shake. The rain didn't just soak you. It cluttered your skin, seeping through every layer of fabric, determined to pull you under. Every step felt heavier than the last, your boots sinking into the muck of the sodden ground. Through the chaos, a faint glimmer of light appeared, wavering like a mirage. You squinted through the rain, as the glow resolved itself into the outline of a town. A tavern caught your eye in the distance. Its crooked sign swung violently above the warped door, creaking under the storm's fury. The promise of shelter drew you forward, your feet moving instinctively. When you finally made it to the tavern, it wasn't safety that welcomed you. Just a dull acceptance that anything was better than being out in the storm. Is there anyone here? Oh yay, there's people here. Hopefully, yay. The door creaked on its rusted hinges as you pushed it open, and a wave of heat and muffled voices spilled out to meet you. Okay. Yay! Civilization! You stepped inside, dripping water onto the warped floorboards, the door slamming shut behind you with a gust of wind. A deadly hush fell over the tavern, making you tremble. The entire tavern seemed to pause, suspended in anticipation of your next move. Eyes flicked your way, sizing you up, before quickly darting back to their drinks. Whatever fragile sense of safety the tavern offered, it came with an edge, sharp and unwelcoming. You kept your head down, shoulders hunched, moving toward an empty table near the corner of the room. The gazes that followed you felt like daggers pricking in your back, silent but sharp. And when we entered the tavern, for some reason I just saw the scene of what was his name? Aaron? Like from Lord of the Rings, like entering the tavern in that one scene. I know, I just saw that. You don't need to know what they're thinking. Or you didn't need to look. You didn't need to look to know what they were thinking. You don't belong here. You checked your map. Your finger traced the path you've taken. Only for your finger to land on a place you dreaded. Rotwood. The name had been scrawled on your map, but no amount of ink could capture the oppressive weight of this place. Lying on the outskirts of the eastern forest, it had become a haven for those the world had spat out. Bandits, poachers, and outlaws. Not because it was safe, but because here, the strong ruled, and the weak learned to disappear. Is it too late to find a different town? The noise of the room ebbed and flowed around you, but the focus was on keeping still, drawing no attention. Your hand twitched toward your map again, but you stopped yourself. It was better not to look lost. Lost, little lamb? The voice startled you, low and honeyed with a sly undertone that immediately put you on edge. You looked up to find a man standing over you, his grin sharp and his eyes sharper. "Name's Clyde," he said, sliding into the seat across from you without invitation. His smile widened as he propped an elbow on the table, leaning closer. "You are?" "Just passing through." You forced a tight smile. Your every instinct screamed at you to get up and leave. He chuckled, as though amused by some private joke. "Passing through?" "Sweetheart, you don't look like you belong anywhere near Rotwood. This isn't exactly a place for delicate creatures." His gaze lingered a little bit too long, pacing over you in ways that made your stomach churn. "I can handle myself." You replied tightly, doing your best to project confidence. "Oh, I don't doubt that," he said, the corner of his mouth curling into a smirk. "What a pretty thing like you wandering alone. That's bound to draw attention. Luckily for you, you caught my attention. I mean, yes, you're relatively attractive, but is this good? Or is it not? I still have not come to a conclusion for that." "And trust me, Lamb, that's the best thing that could have happened to you tonight." He signaled the barmaid with a lazy wave. "2 drinks. Something strong for my new friend here." I probably shouldn't, I don't want him to, roofie my drink. I still don't know who he is. No, thank you. Or that's not necessary. Maybe they have food here I can get instead. Like I don't know, a bowl of peanuts or something? That's not necessary. You said quickly, but he waved off your protest. Don't be shy. Come on, it's just a drink. Don't go breaking my heart, will you? He purred, sliding closer until your knees almost touched. I insist. What kind of man would I be if I didn't treat a beautiful stranger to a drink? The barmaid returned with 2 mugs, placing them on the table. He pushed one toward you, his fingers brushing yours deliberately. Go on. Drink up. It'll take the chill out of your bones. Or would you rather let me warm you up myself? You hesitated, but the smug glint in his eye dared you. Reluctantly, you took a sip, the fiery liquid burning your throats. He watched you with an almost predatory fascination, his grin widening as he set the mug down. There it is. A little color in those cheeks. Told you it'd help. So? He dawdled, leaning back in his chair, his arm now casually draped over the back of your seats. There's a sweet thing like you doing here all alone. Don't tell me you got a death wish. I'm traveling. You replied curtly, hoping your short answer would discourage him. Well, aren't you intriguing? Travelers don't usually come this way without reason. He leaned closer, the faint smell of ale on his breath. Let me guess. Looking for something? Or someone? Maybe someone tall, handsome, and conveniently sitting right in front of you? Not very subtle, is he? His fingers drummed lightly on the table, rhythm slow and deliberate. His arm slid a little around your shoulder, and you stiffened. Neither. You said firmly, shifting into your seat to put a little more distance between you. You got a sharp tongue there, little lamb. I like that. Most folk around here either run or fawn. You? You look like you stand your ground. Cute. So tell me. He tilted his head, smile curling wider. You ever thought about staying somewhere a little safer? Maybe somewhere I could keep an eye on you. I'm fine, thank you. Fine. Oh. That's just cruel, lamb. Could've had some fun, you and me. You know what you're missing. But I get it. Playing hard to get? Makes the prize even sweeter. He winked, his grin widening. I like the ones who have a little fight in them. It makes the chase more exciting. But you don't have to pretend around me, sweetheart. That whole tough act? It's adorable. Let me take the weight off those pretty little shoulders of yours. He breathed a word against your ear, his hand settling lightly on your thigh, just above your knee, thumb brushing in small circles. One night with me, and you'd forget you ever wanted to leave. Before you could respond, the tavern door creaked open, and a lanky, anxious-looking man rushed in, his clothing soaked from the storm. Look, I'm sure we would have fun. But I have things I need to do, and that comes first. Maybe later. Rain check? He spotted your companion immediately, and made a beeline for the table. Boss! The lackey stammered, his voice trembling. Someone's here to see you, boss. I didn't even spare him a glance. Then deal with it. And you see I'm busy? He gestured toward you with a lazy smile. I got company. The lackey swallowed hard, his eyes darting nervously between you and his boss. He leaned in closer and whispered, but you overheard him clearly. Boss. Someone from the Royal Vanguard. He specifically asked for you, and said it's urgent. That finally got his attention. His smile vanished, replaced by a scowl as he turned to glare at the lackey. Thought I told you idiots to take care of it. The lackey fidgeted, his pale face. Or his face pale. We did, but... useless. He snapped, shoving his chair back as he stood abruptly. His hand slammed against the table, making you flinch. Every last one of you. Useless. He turned back to you, his grin returning, though it was sharper now, less amused and more calculated. Don't go anywhere, lamb. I'll be right back. Before you could respond, he stormed out of the tavern, his lackeys grumbling after him like a scolded dog. The door slammed shut behind him, leaving you alone at the table, your pulse racing. You stayed frozen for what felt like an eternity, the tension in your chest threatening to choke you. Minutes passed, but he didn't return. Seizing the opportunity, you slipped out of your chair, moving toward the door as inconspicuously as possible. Every step felt like a gamble, but you made it outside without incidents. The air hit you like a wall as you stepped outside. The silence was unsettling, a stark contrast to the storm you were expecting. Oh. Clyde's body. The headless corpse lay sprawled in the mud. The headless corpse lay sprawled in the mud at your feet, grotesquely twisted, carelessly discarded. Blood gushed from the jagged stump in his neck, pooling thinly in the soaked air. Blood gushed from the jagged stump in his neck, pooling thickly in the rain-soaked earth, or spilling out in dark rivets, winding like sinister veins toward the gutter. His lifeless form was unnervingly still, yet the violent scene around him felt alive. Your breath caught, your legs threatening to buckle. Fear clouded your mind, but there was something else too. Relief. You didn't linger. Okay, maybe he's not the second love interest? Or maybe when I accepted the pendant and denied and refused to drink, maybe that sealed his fate? Like, if I hadn't chosen that, would he live? Because the game page did say that your choices matter. So it is a possibility. Oops. Ooh, sorry. Rest in peace. It wasn't until you reached the town's exit that you noticed them. The man's lackeys, standing in the open. Their eyes locked onto you, wide with terror. And for a moment, you thought they might chase you. Ah! But then they ran. Not after you. Away from you. Their horrified expressions lingered in your mind as you pressed onward, the damp ground squelching underfoot. Whatever had happened, whoever had killed the man, you weren't going to wait to find out. The rain had stopped, but the storm had truly passed. You just had to keep moving. The muddy path leading away from the tavern glistened faintly under the pale moonlight, the remnants of the storm pooling in the small puddles at your feet. You paused on the road, glancing back toward the faint glow of Rotwood's lanterns in the distance. The thought of staying at a nearby inn had crossed your mind. A warm bed, a roof over your head. It would have been a tempting option under different circumstances. After what happened today, the idea left a bitter taste in your mouth. The inns were no exception. Just another extension of the town's opportunistic underbelly. No, you thought, shaking your head. You tightened your cloak around you and started walking. The woods, walled and untamed as they were, felt far safer than any inn at Rotwood. At least in the forest, the threats were honest. You turn back toward the path leading into the forest, leaving the faint glow of rotwood behind. The woods welcomed you with their quiet stillness. The towering trees stretched high above, their swelling branches interwoven into a canopy that filtered the moonlight into thin silver streams. Solitude in the wilderness was far preferable to risking another moment in a place where danger wore a friendly face. After trekking through the dense underbrush and weaving between towering trees, you finally came upon a small clearing. I keep hearing the sound of the owl, and thinking it's my cat outside the door meowing. It was tucked far enough away from the road to promise solitude, yet open enough to make fire without worry. With a weary sigh, you dropped your pack, allowing the tension in your shoulders to ease. Your hand walked automatically, gathering branches and dry kindling from the forest floor. The soft crunch of leaves underfoot and the occasional snap of twigs were the only sounds accompanying you in the clearing. Soon, a small fire crackled to life, its flames flicking in the air with a warm golden glow. The heat seeped into your chilled bones, easing some of the tension coiled in your shoulders. Shadows danced like fleeing phantoms along the edges of the clearing, their movements casting an air of mystique over the quiet forest. From your pack, you pulled out a small bundle of dried vegetables. Their earthy aroma faints as you measured them carefully into your palm. The small pot balanced precariously over the fire as you filled it with water and stirred the mixture with slow, deliberate movements. Steam rose in lazy spirals, vanishing into the cool night's air as the faint scent of cooking wafted around you. The rhythmic bubbling of the pots filled the silence, blending seamlessly with the occasional rustle of leaves stirred by the wind. Your gaze flicked toward the shadow surrounding the clearing. Even as you tried to focus on the soothing repetition of stirring the soup, there was a lingering unease pricked at the edges of your awareness. Something about the vast open darkness felt alive, as though the woods were watching, waiting. As the soup neared completion, a sound broke through the quiet. I hope that's me. You froze, the wooden spoon pausing mid-air. The noise had been low, guttural, almost too loud to be yours. You instinctively pressed a hand to your abdomen, but the sensation was absent. As you convinced yourself there was nothing, a memory surfaced. How, without fail, every time your stomach rumbled, Anselm would immediately take notice. No matter the time or circumstance, he'd insist on preparing something for. Aw, he's so attentive. Often teasing you lightly before presenting a dish with a warm smile. The memory brought a soft chuckle to your lips, a gentle wave of gratitude filling your chest. You let the thought stay with you a while longer, its warmth easing the unease in your hearts. Smiling to yourself, you turned your attention back to the task at hand, feeling a little less alone. The soup was a welcome comfort. Simple, warm, and soothing. You savored each bite, letting the heat work its way through your tired body. You edged closer to the fire, stretching out beneath it for warmth. Once your meal was finished, you took time to arrange a makeshift bed in the clearing. Piles of dry leaves were gathered and layered carefully, forming a soft mound to cushion the floor's floor. Your cloak draped over the leaves provided an added barrier. Your cloak draped over the leaves, providing an added barrier against the dampness. Your pack became your pillow, its warm fabric stiff but familiar as you settled into it. For a while, you simply lay there, staring up at the sky. The canopy above was dotted with stars, their light breaking through the gaps in the trees like 1,000 tiny beacons. It was breathtaking. Countless stars filled the sky, but tonight, it made space just for you. Each constellation seemed to pulse faintly. You let your mind wander, imagining the stars as watchful guardians. Speaking of stars, what's the name? There's a meteor shower happening, at the beginning of, this month, December. I think it peaks on the 11th, I want to say. Anyway, yeah. Their steady presence, a silent reassurance that, despite everything, this night would pass. Exhaustion settled over you like a heavy blanket, yet you couldn't tear your gaze away from the sky. The fire's warmth at your back, and the stars' gentle glow from above, created a harmony that made you feel a semblance of peace. Finally, your eyelids grew heavy, the stars blurring into soft smudges of light as sleep began to claim you. Night, the woods felt safer than anywhere else. Surrounded by the quiet of the woods and the endless beauty of the night sky, you let yourself sink into the stillness, carrying the memory of the starlit canopy with you into your dream. And that is the end of the demo. There we go. So yeah, I actually really do wonder that if I had made different choices, if I forget his name already, if what's his face from the tavern would actually like live. I wasn't expecting him to die. I really do feel a little bad about that, but I mean, my heart is with Ansem, okay? So if I have to choose between one or the other, I'm choosing Ansem. But yes, this was Where Eternity Sleeps by Trunk Mantis. Or no, that was yesterday's creator. This is Where Eternity Sleeps by Living Slime. Sorry about that. I said it and I'm like, wait, that's not right. But yeah, anyway, if you wanna give the game a go yourself and see if that little theory of mine of making different choices that allow that one guy to survive, you know, you can download you can download the game demo for free on itch.io. Put the game page in the script. Yeah, I'll put the game page in the description and in a Blue Sky post after stream. And I don't know, anything else? I am curious, who killed him? They said it was someone from the Royal Guard or something? No chance Ansem, like, he somehow knew this guy was hitting on us? And he traveled all the way here in the middle of the night? And killed that guy? I mean, the game page did say that they're yanderes. So... that would be a very yandere thing to do. But the distance he would have needed to travel... Honestly, for a second, I thought, like, the growling in our stomach was actually someone in, like, the bushes hiding their stomach growling. I thought either, that one guy, either he was somehow actually still alive, like, I guess maybe he was a zombie, or maybe he had a what do you call it? Regeneration abilities? And, like, regrew his head? Like, maybe he was there? Or maybe Ansem somehow found his way there? And he was passed out hungry? I thought maybe it'd be one of those two, but... Ansem distance, the other guy dead. So that wouldn't make sense, so... but yeah, anyway. That's gonna be it. Thank you for joining me for this, game demo. I hope you enjoyed, and, thank you for the raid earlier. Thank you for stopping on by. Good to see you. Always good to see people. And, to anyone watching, thank you as well. Thank you for watching. Anyway, yeah, I think that's it. I can't think of anything else. But yeah. I guess I'll be going now. So, have a good night, evening, afternoon, or morning, whatever time it is. And I hope to see you again. So until then, bye-bye, and... Alright, I'll see you later.